Hi, Doc.
Dr. Jay Faber, nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, mate.
Come on in.
Excited. So having 106 fights in my life, I've been punched in the head thousands of times, and I've been worried about my brain health. So I've done some research to find out where I can go to see what's going on with my brain and if there is anything I can do to improve it. And I found the Amen Clinic, and I've heard great things about it. So I was very excited to get in touch and come here and see if they can help us.
So Tony, it's a pleasure meeting you today.
Yeah, you too, mate. You too. I'm excited about this. I'm nervous and excited at the same time because, I don't know what I'm going to expect, but I want to get better.
Yeah, well, we want to get you better too. So tell me about these memory problems you're experiencing.
If you asked me what I did yesterday, it would take us a good 5 minutes to really think about what did I do yesterday. At the same time, I'm really busy. I'm running 3 or 4 businesses with employees, and we've got the COVID stuff, and so there's a lot of that going on as well.
And it looks like you've had a bunch of concussions.
Yeah, I've had like 7 or 8 concussions.
7 or 8 concussions, and then I did the multiplication. The report said 50,000 hits to the head.
Yeah, 40 to 50,000. Yeah.
And hit, I'm assuming, in the front of the head.
Yeah, in the front, in the side, in the chin. Or the thing with boxing, and I don't know how experienced you are with the knowledge of it, is not just getting punched in the head that I feel like does damage. If I've got my hands here and I get punched on my hand, this impact is impacting my head as well,
Yeah.
So if I'm blocking like this, even though I'm taking the punches there, it's still moving my brain around a little bit.
So not as quite a forceful blow, but still a forceful blow.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, great. Well, let's look at your pictures.
Great.
Okay.
Being punched in the head, as many times as I've been punched in the head, I would be a little bit punch drunk if I never thought that that's done any damage to us. I want to be performing at the highest ability that I can perform at, mentally and physically, and I know it all starts with the brain, so that's why I really wanted to come here and do whatever I can to be able to perform the best I can.
Right, so the first thing we're going to do is look at the surface of our brain. Okay, and then after we look at your surface, we're going to go look below surface. Surface scans, better blood flow. Brain's working really good. Decreased blood flow, brain's not working so well. So what we're going to do is look at specific regions to see what that blood flow looks like. All right, so this is a typical picture of a 36-year-old male brain surface. All right, now just to orientate, here we're looking from the bottom up, top down, left side, right side. Okay, few areas we definitely want to look. Our lower frontal cortex. All right, this helps with focusing. People with problems here will jump from one thing to another. They get really distracted. Sometimes people can have a hard time making decisions here. They do a lot of acting before thinking. If I go from the bottom to top, from about my pen down, this region plus bottom, so here plus here, this is our frontal lobes. Our frontal lobes help with executive functioning. Big fancy word for basically coming up with an idea, following through until it's done.
Right.
Okay, so we'll definitely want to look here. This raised area, this is our cerebellum. Not only does our cerebellum help with motor coordination, it also helps with thought coordination. That all happens back here. This also helps with focus, paying attention. So a lot of learning is back here. Okay, now for you, what the heck would I be thinking, all right, from reading your stuff? One, wherever we get hit, we could see a bump. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you got hit in the front, boom.
Boom.
I'd see a bump here. As soon as we hit, our head goes back, and the back of our brain can hit our skull. So we can see a bump here too. So kind of coup, contra coup, all right? In addition, it gets a little bit more complex. Our temporal lobes are protected by a bone called the sphenoid wing, and it does a great job of protecting our brain, unless we get hit really hard. Then that hard bone hits soft brain, and these can get bruised as well. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on, especially down here where our hippocampus is. All right, same if you get hit on the side. Bump on your right side, head goes to the left. See a bump here,
Right.
okay? So we're going to look for that as well. is your scan. Here's normal. Here's yours. So I'm curious now, what do you see?
I mean, I've got no idea what I'm looking at.
All right, so we'll start looking around here a little bit. Okay, your picture, okay, so you've had some hits. There's what I call the incinerator brain. Okay, the incinerator brain is one of those old incinerators where you put the wood and burn it, and if people hit it, you got big dents, you actually see some holes. This is not incinerator brain, this is more like a wobbly brain. This would be something like, say, people who fall down stairs. We might see something like this. People who actually play soccer and take a lot of hits to the front of the head. We could see something like this. People who've been in a car accident, minor car accident, we might see something like this. Okay, so I've seen a lot worse. To be honest, after reading your report, I go, my gosh, this is probably going to look more like the incinerator brain. No, it's more wobbly, so that's kind of good news. We got some work to do here.
Great.
No, you've got one spot here, but there's nothing over here. This side looks actually pretty good. All right. When I see decreased blood flow asymmetrically, more on one side than the other, that's usually associated with head trauma. Okay. Now, what happened to our temporal lobes? Okay. They get caught in the middle. So our temporal lobes should look like two fluffy cotton balls. Nice, fluffy, smooth on top, good convex surface protruding out. So here's our right temporal lobe. Here's our left temporal lobe. So our left temporal lobe, does this look like a fluffy cotton ball?
No.
So I think just looking at these, part of your memory issues, all right, could very well be that you can't focus as well and do executive functions as well. So we want to really focus on here as we talk about this. The only piece we still haven't looked at in great detail is that cerebellum, which has a lot to do with learning. When we look at your other picture, we'll get a better idea how that's working. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom, our cerebellum. Like to see a lot of red and white down here. Not much red and white down here.
Remind me what the white is.
So white means our blood flows at the 92nd percentile. This is in terms of speed, so it's moving pretty fast. All right, so this is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, so our motor coordinating center, but also our thought coordinating center. So our working memory, our processing speed, how fast we learn. Okay, we definitely want to talk about how to help that out. We got to get this whole cortex smoother. So all these bumps, okay, you want to try to help these areas get a lot better. There's 3 supplements that help support our temporal lobes. It has N-acetylcysteine, acetyl L-carnitine, and huperzine A. Huperzine A helps support memory. Okay. Then we put 3 supplements in to help support the whole surface. It has ginkgo biloba, that's one most people have heard of. Yeah. Ginkgo is an antioxidant that helps our blood vessels dilate. The more they dilate, the more blood flow we get to our surface. The second thing I would do is I would get hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Okay, and I'd start pretty quickly just because I think it's going to help. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, we have you sit in what looks like a big like sleeping bag / tube where you unzip it, you lay down, bring your books or your computer, okay, you zip it up, we increase the oxygen concentration, we increase the atmospheric pressure, it pushes oxygen across our blood-brain barrier and helps support these areas to get them smooth again.
So now I've done all of the tests, the brain scan, I've spoke to the doctor, he's given me recommendations, and now it's doing everything that the doctor said and seeing what happens. And I'm confident because of the things that he's told us and the things that he showed us, that if I do what he says, that it's going to be big improvements in my brain.
I'll be excited to see you 5 years from now.
Right, yeah.
As you've got your own company, not only nationally, but internationally. And the beauty is when we start with symptoms and get them better, it takes our whole quality of life and makes that incredibly better.
So then what do you think the next step is after that?
Well,
can I come and get this done again and see if there's any improvements on this?
I'd get this 6 to 12 months later.
Right.
All right, I'd meet me in about a month to see
come back
how
and
we're
see
doing. Yeah, because I just gave you, I gave you a lot of things to do,
Yeah.
right? And with any kind of what I call lifestyle medicine interventions, as much as we'd like to say, hey, everyone's got to do all these things, life hits,
Right, yeah.
things happen, all right? And then we get creative, and then we use our problem-solving skills to further readjust the plans so you get to the long-term goals you want.
Right, yeah. That sounds good. Great, thank you.
Well, you can thank me when you get to the level you want to get at,
Right.
and I'll be a happy camper.
Just before I seen me brain scan, I was very nervous because I didn't know what to expect, but as well I was excited because I knew I was going to find out some things that I can do to improve my brain. And yeah, when I seen it and I seen there was different areas of my brain where the blood flow wasn't so good, or it wasn't as good as the average 36-year-old, it was worrying, but it gives us hope, and it gives us hope that I can improve that part of my brain and I'll be able to focus better and have better memory and ultimately live a better life. So without having them scans and without talking to the doctor and finding this stuff out, I would never know what was going on. But now I know, now I feel great, and I'm excited for the future and excited to be able to do whatever I can to live the best life that I can live.